5:02. Here's a live look from Harris County's election central. More than 2 million people voted in the Republican primary and more than 900,000 in the Democratic primary. And this morning, votes are still being counted. This morning, candidates who won last night are now shifting their focus onto their next race.
For some, that's a runoff in May. For others, that's the general election in November. Victor Jacobo is live outside the Harris County Election Technology Center to break down some of the big results from the primary night. Victor, good morning.
Yeah, Kimberly and Steph, election officials are wrapping up the final tallies from yesterday's primary. But we do know that with the results that are in, the stage is set for what's expected to be one of the more contested races in the state. That is the race for U.S. Senate. Now, Congressman Colin Allred came out on top in a crowded field for the Democratic primary. He avoids a runoff after getting nearly 60% of the vote. Right now, his focus turns to his November general election rival, incumbent Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Cruz is aiming for his third term in the U.S. Senate. Meanwhile, in just the last few hours, we learned that a major battle within the state Republican Party continues. Texas House Speaker Dade Phelan will now head to a runoff race against David Covey after both failed to get a majority of votes. Phelan helped open the door to impeach Attorney General Ken Paxton last year, and Paxton has aimed to get revenge by backing Covey and turn voters against Phelan. He went on social media last night to rally voters over the result. That runoff between Phelan and Covey will be on May 28th. And here in Harris County, Sean Teare came out on top over District Attorney Kim Ogg. Kim Ogg was aiming to hold on to her position, but with Teare's victory and the political makeup of Harris County, he is expected to take on that win through the November general election and become the next district attorney for Harris County. Now reporting live in Houston, Victor Jacobo, KHOU 11 News.
This district is about hard work, proven service, and a commitment and passion and a love for the people.
Representative Sheila Jackson Lee spoke in front of her supporters at her watch party last night. The latest numbers are on your screen for you right now. Jackson Lee is currently in the lead against former Houston City Council member Amanda Edwards with 60% of the vote. Jackson Lee was first elected to Congress back in 1995. She's currently in her 14th term in the U.S. House of Representatives, and she also currently sits on 3 congressional committees and serves as the Democratic Chief Deputy Whip. Her competitor announced that she was running for the seat when Jackson Lee was running for mayor.
And Jackson Lee eventually lost to Mayor John Whitmire and then decided to defend her seat. An interesting connection there. Edwards used to intern for Jackson Lee's staff back in Washington, D.C.
I'm Stephen Goen, here in the 5th Ward, where Amanda Edwards rallied supporters overnight. Throughout her campaign, Edwards hoped to disrupt Sheila Jackson Lee's nearly 30 years as representative for Texas's 18th congressional district. Edwards was thought to be the first real challenge in years to the Congresswoman's tenure. But for much of the night Tuesday, Edwards trailed behind Jackson Lee by double digits. At the end of the night, Edwards instead expressed her gratitude to her supporters, her family, her donors, and campaign staff.
Now let's turn to the national stage. Here's a look at the Republican primary for president. Former President Trump is leading by 78%. This morning, results across the nation point to a repeat of Biden versus Trump this November. Here's Skylar Henry.
This is a big one. A big night for former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden on Super Tuesday, with major wins in several states. The two frontrunners already shifting focus to a likely general election rematch.
Our poll numbers are so much higher than Joe Biden's. He's the worst president in the history of our country.
In a statement, President Biden described Trump as, quote, driven by grievance and grift and determined to destroy our democracy. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley picked up a projected win in Vermont, though still not enough to put a dent in Trump's massive lead. According to CBS News exit polls, immigration and the economy were top issues for GOP voters.
I'm going to vote for anybody who says they're closing the border.
Biden again faced opposition from some voters over his handling of the Israel-Hamas war, with tens of thousands in Minnesota casting a protest vote of uncommitted.
We did it so we can have a ceasefire now.
All eyes were also on the crowded California Senate primary for the seat previously held by late Senator Dianne Feinstein, on record as the most expensive Senate election in state history. Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff and Republican and former professional baseball player Steve Garvey will face off in the general election. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Our coverage continues all morning long, but right now you can get the latest number sent right to your phone. Just text the word VOTE to 713-526-1111 and we will text you back with a link.